What's up, you guys? Justin and Michelle, and we are bringing to you our weekly article review. So today's article is called Where the U.S. Housing Market Goes Next as Told by Two Charts, and it is written by Fortune. But before we get into this, we need you guys to do us a favor. Go hit that like button and subscribe so that you guys can get all of our information that we put out weekly.
I was staring down at the screen trying to get us set up for our next thing. But go ahead.
All right, so we're going to dive right into it. So the Fed pulled out their old inflation fighting playbook, and I'm going to read what they wrote about this. It goes like this. The central bank applies upward pressure on long-term interest rates, including mortgage rates, through signaling that short-term rates will soon rise. Those spiking mortgage rates then push both home sales and home building lower. That causes demand for commodities like lumber and concrete and durable goods like countertops and refrigerators to fall. Those economic contractions then spread throughout the rest of the economy and, in theory, help to curtail inflation. So, I mean, we know that, you guys know that, but they are starting to talk about it now.
Makes a lot of sense,
yeah.
Right? 1/3 of our economy is real estate related, so they put pressure there. It's going to cause the goods to fall for pretty much everything.
Yes.
And thank goodness we're starting to see that, right?
Yeah.
We're already starting to see good signs that inflation is starting to curve. Things are starting to happen.
Yeah.
But, of course, that comes at a price.
It does.
Putting a lot of pressure on the real estate market.
For sure. And a lot of home shoppers are putting their shopping on pause. Which brings us to our next stat that we got. Across the country, home shoppers are putting their home search on pause. On a year-over-year basis, new home sales and existing home sales are down 29.6% and 20.2%. And single-family stats and mortgage purchase applications are down 18.5% and 23%, respectively. Simply put, housing activity is contracting fast. And again, we've seen that coming. You guys have seen that coming. We've talked about this, but...
Yes, makes perfect sense. And those stats are all okay, right? We just don't want prices to drop a lot.
Yeah.
That's where it becomes tough.
Right.
And we know the culprit. We know the reason is interest rates. They're so high. They're pricing a lot of people out of here. And the article referenced that. It says, just look at mortgage rates. Heading into the year, the average 30-year fixed mortgage rate sat at 3.1%. Wow. Seems like it was so long ago, but it's just 8 months ago that it was there.
It's like a whole different time period.
Now, on the last Thursday of September, they climbed to 6.23, the second highest of 2022.
Wow.
So, you go ahead.
Yeah, well, so that brings up to our next point. We're going to kind of give you a demonstration of how much less affordable a $500,000 house would be. Okay, so if a borrower took out a $500,000 mortgage at 3.2%, they'd see a $2,162 monthly payment. At a 6.23 rate, that monthly payment would be just over $3,000 over a 30-year loan. That's, what is that, 30%?
Yeah, 33% increase. Yeah. That is going to put a dent in a lot of people's pocketbooks. It's going to make them not be able to afford the homes, not be able to make the payments on those homes, and essentially price them out of the market. And this graph shows you guys basically the number of U.S. households who no longer qualify for a $400,000 mortgage based on the shifting mortgage rates back in December. So if we zoom in a little bit and we take the beginning of January, basically 392,000 people, when rates were like at 3.1, that was a little too high for them on a 400,000. Not very many people were priced out of the market.
Yeah.
But as they started to raise them, we've got 13 million people priced out of the market. Back when rates hit that 6.3 rate, the highest back in June and July, we had over 16 million people, households actually priced out of the market. This is the second week and first week in August, and what you'll notice is, remember that week when interest rates dropped?
Yeah.
The Fed raised their rates, and we're like, oh crap, we're screwed. Yeah. And then they went down into the fours for a week, and that was like amazing. And so that's what you see there when it dropped to the fours. Only 11.9 million were priced out. We saw a lot more homes go under contract. Second week of August, 13.3. But now that we're at the beginning of September, you're going to, that number realistically is much closer to the 16.5 million people that are priced out of the market.
Ouch.
So, of course, as that stays high.
Yep. I mean, so honestly, like we've told you guys in the past, we're going to give it to you straight. If rates go up, we're going to tell you. If it's a great time to buy, we're going to tell you. And likewise, the opposite. But here's what Goldman Sachs released their revised forecast. The investment bank now projects that the housing GDP will fall 8.9% in 2022 and another 9.2% in 2023. That would make the first housing downturn of the post-Great Financial Crisis era the culprit, the affordability crunch caused by spiking mortgage rates.
So you and I talked about this last year as we've done our videos. Those of you guys on YouTube probably didn't see because they were on our Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
But we always said last year when people said it's going to crash, we pointed to this graph right here.
Yeah.
It was the affordability graph, which basically takes how much it costs to afford a home.
Yeah.
And because interest rates were in the twos, their mortgage payment was actually cheaper and more affordable, even though housing prices had gone up 30-40% over the last 2 years. It was still cheaper to afford a house with that low interest rate than what it was back in 2006 and 2007, right before the crash when that happened. And so I'll kind of just zoom in right here. So, we've got April of 2022. March of 2022, it was still 28% of your total monthly income was going towards your mortgage payment.
Right.
That's still traditionally low compared to back here in 2006 and 2007. It was 34% of your monthly income was going towards your mortgage payment.
Yeah.
Well, gosh dang it, now the interest rates went all the way back up.
Yeah.
Right? Even though prices have started to go down, that took a toll on people's mortgage payments and made it less affordable.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
If rates stay the same and prices continue to drop, you'll see this become more affordable. And that's where we keep saying that there's eventually going to kind of be where the two things meet. Interest rates are going to get low enough and prices are going to drop low enough where as the affordability index starts creeping down, that's when you'll see buyers creep back in the market.
For sure. And in the meantime, this recession will get inflation more under control than it already is. So.
And that's kind of how they conclude the article, right?
Yep.
Mark Zandi, we like this guy. He actually knows what he's talking about. A lot of the other people don't. He expects rates to average around 5.5 for the remainder of the year. What is our prediction?
I think that it's going to be very similar to that. I think it's going to remain that about 5.5 for the rest of the year. But I think in the spring is when inflation is going to be under control enough that they can start to lower those interest rates. And I think that's when we're going to see it go crazy.
I think by December or November, you'll see rates back in the low fives.
Really?
Is my prediction. And don't be surprised if there are weeks where it dips into the fours. So pay attention, mark that. And then, of course, what we've heard the Fed say, and they kind of conclude this, is they've seen the cost of goods come down. Gas prices are starting to come down. Those are all really good signs.
Yeah.
And this is a weird thing, but it makes sense. They actually want to see less jobs created. And so if the labor market stays strong and we keep creating jobs, they'll keep raising rates.
Right.
But if job reports start coming out and people are losing their jobs or not as many jobs are being created, then that's when they can start to ease back those interest rates, which I personally think, based on the people we talk to, based on the people that we know, is right around the corner. The writing's on the wall, and I think that's why I'm predicting that you'll see those rates in the lower fives towards the end of the year versus the mid fives.
You guys heard it here first. We will see. This guy has a history of being somewhat accurate, I would say, right? Go back and watch some of our videos from last year. Y'all will see what I'm talking about. Anyways, don't forget to like and subscribe, and don't forget to tune in to our next article review.